Big questions with the dead milkmen.
Big question for this week was, what do we do when we don't have a big questions airing? Like when we have a odds and ends or a special thing. That's because we went on a mini tour, and we're going to share highlights from said mini tour. And I asked the guys to each make a video of like a compilation of some things that happened to you on the tour. So for me, some of the highlights, definitely like the ease of travel. I feel like there were no delays in flights. We got through security okay. They were short flights. When I got like the shuttle bus that took me to my car, like it dropped me right off there, and there was not much traffic on the way back. And it's, maybe that's petty, but it was the highlights.
It's the little things, you know what I mean? Like not getting punched in the face.
Yeah, that happened a lot. Not getting. Joe, you lent me the Lou Reed Transformer 33 1/3 book, which was great, and that was a highlight of the tour. Reading that in the plane and in the hotel room. The HenriettaHaus in Hamtramck, with the Dutch shuffleboard, which was cool. And Amy visited us in Nashville, which was awesome. Spent the day there. And then I talked to a cool cop on the plane on the whole ride to Detroit. She was a cop in Detroit, and heard some interesting stories, but it was nice to talk to like someone who seems like a good cop. We talked a lot about like mental health and how there needs to be more education on that. Anyway, all the people at the Hamtramck Festival were awesome, like John and Marty, Craig. Polish Muslims were fun to watch, like doing cover song, polka music, and incorporating the word polka as many times as they could into a song. And the crowd at Hamtramck was awesome. It was a bit intimidating to see like no end to the people and like sea of people. And just that town seems really cool. I like how it's like it was like Polish and also like very Muslim, so the Polish Muslims kind of fit in there. But yeah, it was cool seeing kids like in the alleys like playing soccer, and like they're doing that because the main street is closed down because there's this festival of thousands of people. But yeah, so those are some of my highlights.
Are we going to show your clip reel now, or?
Here, can I get a quick photo of you guys in front of this?
Yeah. I wouldn't miss this for the world.
Don't be late.
On some old Vegas slot.
What's that?
that so I can.
Are we not to write on the face?
Well, I wouldn't because of what I just read. Don't worry about it.
And we're back.
So that was my video, and I hope you all enjoyed it. And we're gonna have some similar elements throughout our videos because we were, you know, all in the same places. So yeah.
Okay. The highlights for me were on Saturday in Tennessee. One of the highlights was playing the show and actually meeting some nice fans at the Muddy Roots Festival. And the second thing I really liked about Saturday in Tennessee was after our set, just hanging out with Rodney and Dan and Amy while drinking a beer and looking at the moon and the stars.
That was fantastic.
Very relaxing, very relaxing.
You never get to see the sky because we have light pollution here. And we sat and we had the indigenous dancers over by, and oh man, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was a nice evening, end of the evening, I think. My highlights for Sunday when we flew to Detroit and then went to Hamtramck. Yes, hanging out at the HenriettaHaus bar and relaxing before we could get to our Airbnb. Another highlight were delicious pierogis and potato pancakes. And also, yes, witnessing the Polish Muslims do their thing for 2 hours before us. And they are a Hamtramck Labor Day Festival tradition for over 40 years, apparently. Were you going to say something, Rodney?
No, it's good. I've never seen you happier. I mean, I wasn't there when your son was born, obviously. but I've never seen you happier than you were with the pierogies and the potato pancakes.
My son looked like
very, very happy. Yeah.
And then the other thing was, yes, I thought we played really well on Sunday. To some very appreciative fans, and we met some great people afterwards, and yeah, we had a good time in Hamtramck, and then yeah, we came home on Monday. So hey, here's my little travel documentary that I put together.
All right, guys, what's the question now? We should have had the TV on the bar rescue.
Can we show that? That was filthy. Filthy. The filth. First of all, I never tell my cats, particularly my one cat, Lenore. Gia's okay with me leaving, but Lenore's in the office with me all day and the studio too. And so I never tell her that I'm going on tour. I say, Papa's going to the old country to pick potatoes. And that's why I always say I'm going to Sofia, Bulgaria to pick potatoes. And it also keeps me kind of grounded. The same way that when I get home, first thing I do is like laundry and stuff like that, because I it's like, oh, you played for this big crowd, but now back to normal life. So here are a couple things. Friday night, I had to get picked up at 6:00 by the car service. And my job ran pretty much right up to when the car service. I was like packing and doing stuff all day long. So that was a skin of the teeth kind of thing. And then we landed in Tennessee, and we got to see rural Tennessee at night, which is every wrong turn movie ever made. I don't know how many wrong turn movies they made. I know there's at least one, but it was like Texas Chainsaw. You would just look out the window and go, please, dear God, don't let us break down. And you think, well, maybe it's beautiful in the day, but no, we saw it later on in the day. It is scary. It's really super scary there. And then we got to, and we can't tell you what hotel chain this was, or they will own us forever. But we got to the hotel, and it was less than satisfactory. So this is my first video. My videos are like little horror movies. So this is the first first video, and it's called Room with a View of Madness.
And greetings, Gherkins, from what may be the second worst hotel in America. The worst is actually located just outside Baltimore, and I stayed there with Velvet Acid Christ. A few amenities of the room I'm in now. The safety latch on the door has been conveniently removed, so you don't have to worry about fiddling with that. I'm sure you're familiar with the term transams up on blocks. Well, our air conditioning unit is up on blocks. And up in this corner up here, see if I can, you can kind of see it back there. There it is. It's back. Oh, wrong finger. I never fail. Oh, there we go. Up here. And I'll put a picture of that up there as a tribute to the Tate LaBianca murders. It is. You don't want to see the bathroom. It is not good. Also, thanks for Dean for helping me up. But out back is nothing but gravel, which you will fall on. I can sue this place, but in the settlement, they'd probably make me a manager. So yeah, it's off from a lovely stay here, and there's nothing around here but fast food, which is great for me because I don't eat fast food. So from a weight loss perspective, that'll be wonderful. After this, it's off to the woods to play an oldie show. Not my thing at all. So yeah, if you see me, I don't know, give me flowers or something to cheer me up.
Okay, and that's what we had to live through. And then Dean and I, the next day, actually, because there was nowhere to go, this hotel was located just surrounded by fast food joints, and it was like hot out. So Dean and I slept the entire day. We would be talking, and I would be reading. I had a book with me, and then I would hear Dean snoring, and I would just put the book down and go out because you know you're going to have to get up early the next day. You know you're going to perform that night. You know you're going to be tired. And just get some sleep. There was nowhere to eat, nowhere to go, which is really where I wish we'd been in Hamtramck and had a day that day, because there were lots of places to go in Hamtramck, but not so much in the little town that we were in. So on Saturday, like I said, we were surrounded by fast food, nowhere to go. We slept in. Eventually, we did leave for the Muddy Roots Festival. And on the way there, Dan Mapp's like, I got to show you this. Dan Mapp is our road manager. He's been on the show. So I got to show you this. And it was the weirdest car museum. It was a whole bunch of antique cars in somebody's lawn with a bunch of signs warning you not to take anything. And they had an 88, a Rocket 88, which was the very first rock and roll song. It's called Rocket 88. It was by Ike Turner, who, of course, is a terrible wife beater guy. But the Rocket 88 had been there so long that the wheels were sank into the ground. Then about a quarter mile from that was this couple sitting out on their porch waving. And back on their sort of outbuilding, quite visible, was a large Confederate flag. And Dan Mapp and I are looking at each other like, how dare they wave at us? People, if you have a Confederate flag, this is the waving that you should be doing to me. Mr. Yankee Man, I surrender. So we got to the Muddy Roots Festival, and it was probably one of the most naked crowds, good-looking crowd, all good-looking people, but everybody. There was a lot of butts on display. There were a lot of butts on parade. A lot of thongs and a lot of people, because it was hot out, like wearing as little as they could. I encourage that sort of stuff. I'm wondering how much longer this thing can go on, because sooner or later, this is Tennessee, and Johnny Law's going to get involved. So I wish them a lot of luck. And there were, as Dean and I mentioned earlier, there were some Native American or indigenous dancers, like a dance troupe. They were the best thing I saw. They were absolutely incredible. They would do percussion and dancing and singing. And then after we had played, we got to come back and just kind of sit out and, like Dean said, look at the stars and hang out. They were, hanging out, and it was just really nice. It was relaxing, and I don't get enough of that. So, because like I say, you cannot see like, oh, look, there's Saturn. Oh no, it's a jumbo jet. I'm an idiot. So that's what we have here. Sunday, we had to get up early, and when I say early, we had to get up a half hour later that I have to get up to go to work tomorrow. So go figure that. And we went off to Nashville. So we saw this band. Well, sorry, we went off to Detroit. Yeah, we went from Nashville to Detroit, and we saw this band. We were in the line to check in with them, to check baggage in, and they looked like a band. They had tattoos, and they were big, and they were carrying their guitars like. People, they would say like, I'm going to, and they were speaking in an Eastern European language. So it was like, I'm going to put my guitar up here and no one's going to stop me. They were what a band should look like. And we saw them in line. And then later on, they were on our plane to Detroit. So they played both Nashville and Detroit like we did. When we got to Detroit, we were picked up by a church van. You don't see that every day. A Chinese Christian church, but yeah, so you want to roll in that van. And then we went to, as mentioned previously, Henrietta's house, and Henrietta's house was amazing. They had all these paintings and stuff. One of my favorite paintings was of a man, a mule, and a chicken. You had to see that. We have pictures. That'll be up there. They also had the Vincent Price Shrunken Head Maker, where you make shrunken heads out of apples, a toy I loved as a child. I was so happy to see that again. And the menus were on the old Time Life Mysteries of the Unknown books. I think they had a couple other books, but mine was from the Mysteries of the Unknown. We're going to put up a link to the old Mysteries of the Unknown commercial from 89 or 90. It's got a young Julianne Moore in it. It needs to be seen. Future Oscar winner Julianne Moore wanted to sell you these Time Life Mysteries of the. So I was so happy to see that. And then what happened was we were staying in a bed and breakfast in Detroit, which is the plot of the movie Barbarian. So I called my wife and I'm like, "Oh, honey, I read the mention. We'll be in a B&B in Detroit, an Airbnb in Detroit." And she's like, "Barbarian." So yeah, that was that. So I was on the lookout all night. If you haven't seen Barbarian, folks, you really should see it. The festival itself, again, as mentioned, the Polish Muslims had no right to be as good as they were. They were tight. One guy played for legendary band The Mutants. They were fun. Like, you really had to be kind of smart to pull off what they pulled off, which was these sort of parody songs, and working in pizza and bowling and all this into these old tracks. Really, really good. I was sitting there like, there's no reason I should love this band as much as I do, but God, how I love them. Apparently they play the festival every year. There were actual carnival rides there, which is quite fun when you're singing Stewart, to actually look out and see a mixer and also a snow cone concession. That threw me off my game a little bit. Somebody had been eating funnel cake, and they had these funnel cake enclosures, like plastic things. And I like to keep a neat stage. I don't like anything. So they were kind of falling towards the front stage. So I picked them up. And when I picked them up, I noticed they had all this white powdery substance in it. So later on, I was smearing it on my face, claiming to have been hanging out with Stevie Nicks or something. That was a lot of fun. And the weird thing was that after we made a lot of Stevie Nicks jokes. And afterwards, somebody came and went, my friend is a witch and she wants you to have this. And we all got Stevie Nicks cards. So I handed them out later at night. And the thing is, we're so used to weirdness that didn't even seem odd to us. That, yeah, here we go, the Stevie Nicks cards. I will treasure this the rest of my life. So that was it. But the most fun I had, though, I'm going to tell you right now, hanging out in the kitchen after the show. Everybody was just in a great mood. Dean was putting down pierogies. I had some latkes. We had some of the pizza left over, I think, from the HenriettaHaus. It was just really a really good night. It was one of the best times I've had in a long, long time. We were all just hanging out in the kitchen, cracking each other up, and that just enjoying life the way it should be enjoyed. I think I almost cried when I was in there. I mean, I'm like, this is so much fun, and I wish that part of the night could have gone on forever. The after show, just hanging out, all 5 of us, just eating and bullshitting.
Yeah, I thought we were going to watch Barbarian, but
that is my video, my second video. I went 6 seconds over the limit. You could do 2.5 minutes, so I did one and then another one. So this is my 6-second Barbarian, or 36-second Barbarian video. So please enjoy this. Okay, so Sparky, Dan and I were just talking about watching Barbarian because we might have Joe's HBO account. But Sparky, you got to see this. This is the place in Detroit, and yeah, check this out. We all know what's beyond that door.
Show the screwed-in cabinets too. That was like, wow.
Yeah, we have screwed-in cabinets wouldn't have been. The Barbarian didn't have that. They said a Sarsgaard fella, but yeah, it's pretty darn scary. All right, and if you can, like I say, see the movie Barbarian. Yeah, it's some spooky shit right there. All right, Joseph, were you even on tour? You're so quiet. I don't know if you were there.
Yeah, I was on this tour. I had a lot of good times. In Cookeville, where we drove from Nashville. We flew to Nashville and drove, what was it, a little over an hour to Cookeville. It was pretty late at night, and I was pleasantly surprised that the air conditioner was already on and it was set to 64 degrees, which is perfect sleeping weather for me. I don't know who did that, but thanks. And then got up in the morning and took a nice long walk, and I was amazed at all the variety of fast food chains on my walk. I don't know. I was trying to, every time I would think of a chain that I didn't see yet, I would see it in my, oh, there it is. There's the Taco Bell. And found a Starbucks, and lo and behold, Dean and Rodney showed up there. Anyway,
the new wave Starbucks. They played only new wave music, like Yazoo and the Cars. It was Blondie. It was so weird.
All 80s all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed Muddy Roots more than I thought I was, and there was a lot of walking around to do there too. And like I think Dan said, it was very beautiful, and Rodney mentioned the stars were nice to see. The highlight for me in Hamtramck may have been Dutch Shuffleboard, but I also enjoyed playing the show of walking around the fairgrounds and listening to the different musics. Like there were 2 stages, and one stage had the Polish Muslims, which I watched for a little while, and I started walking. And another stage had this like thrashy, but one of those bands that has the stops all the time and syncopated rhythms. And in the middle, it was just like a clash of mishmash, because the stages faced each other from one end of the street to the other. And behind the other stage, they had a carnival, which was pretty cool, with kids rides and kids riding on them. And like Dan said, it was cool seeing people playing soccer in the alleyways. And playing the show was fantastic too. I thought we did well both nights. And
yeah, Detroit broke my formula. I have people, when you play a show, you have to get good at figuring out how many people are there, because the promoters will often say, oh, you were 50 people away from selling it out. You just missed bonus. So I have a formula that I use that's pretty accurate for getting a crowd size. Didn't work in Hamtramck. I have no idea how many people were there. I don't know if I could possibly estimate that. It was a lot of people funneled into a street.
It was their main.
It went off, curved with the earth. Yeah.
It was blocked off for that festival. And there was another night we didn't stay for the actual Labor Day, where the festival continued. And also Muddy Roots was 3 days, and we were in this middle day.
I would say there were more people at Muddy Roots. I mean, more people at Hamtramck, but there were more naked butts at Muddy Roots. a lot of butt.
It reminds me that
I enjoyed
I talked to more people at Hamtramck than maybe ever at a show. It was nonstop.
It rivals, I guess, Fun Fest for the amount.
What I liked about that was at first people were coming up and asking me to take a picture of them with Joe. And at one point Joe was like, well, he's also, and I was like, just me. And then this woman kept, Joe, do you remember that lady who was like, oh, it doesn't look good. Oh, I blinked. Oh, I can't see my feet in it. So finally I just like took a
15
picture
different pictures. And then she says, I need to have my feet in the picture. I can't stand pictures when my feet are cut off. So we had to do it again.
I also liked during the set, I got a good laugh out of the fellow who had a sign that said, I'm from Philly.
Oh, yeah,
He turned it over and it was like, I gave all my food to FOD during nutrition.
Yeah.
Yeah, people, you could probably find the whole, if you go to YouTube and just do Dead Milkmen Hamtramck, I'm sure you can find the whole show online.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was quite the experience. I didn't know what it was going to be like. At first, I was really worried going into it because I thought, oh my God, there are families here. I didn't know what it was going to be. And I thought we were going to die. We're going to come out. I'm going to drop my first F-bomb and that's it. That's it. You know, people are going to throw stuff or leave. I had no idea people were there to see us. So that was quite a surprise.
And here is my little film video. Okay.
Well, Joe, I will say the nudity was tasteful in your video. I didn't realize you had your butt out at Muddy Roots, but I think we all appreciate it. At first, I thought that was a dirt bike track. And I'm like, oh, Joe's butt. Okay.
Well, thanks, guys, for, sharing your experiences.
Sharing means caring.
Yeah, my recommendation, I would recommend, if you have the means, go to Detroit or Hamtramck. And if you're in Hamtramck, check out HenriettaHaus. Amy and Jeremy, the owners, were way cool. They gave us all shirts.
I paid for
And
mine.
free food. And that Dutch shuffleboard was pretty cool. And they got a lot of cool stuff to look at, like Rodney was saying.
My recommendation this week is a series of 3 videos. There are interviews with Andy Partridge from XTC. He had a couple of things with these interviews. He doesn't normally do interviews, so it's kind of rare. But one, he has no issues playing a cheap guitar. It kind of helps that he's good at playing guitar, but in the videos, he's playing a cheap guitar, which is pretty funny. And then the other thing I noticed about the videos, and he's largely self-taught, so actually doesn't know some of the chord names that he's playing. And the interviewer, who I think is a composer, has to tell him what his fancy sounding chords are, which amuses Andy greatly. So I recommend
time to learn.
Yeah, right. I mean, he can play and he can play these chords with ease, but he doesn't know what the exact names were.
I don't know my wife's middle name, but I plan to learn, or her birthday.
That's a B6 diminished with an added 13th or something like that. But anyway, so there's 3 parts. Part 1 is how I write songs. 2 is the jazz influences, which when he explained it all was pretty interesting. I had never really considered that. And then the 3rd thing was called The Big Express, the alternative guitar tunings. So anyway, check out those series of videos. If you're an XTC fan, I think you'll like it.
As usual, lots of recommendations from me. I've, as I mentioned earlier, the film Barbarian. It turns out that was directed by Zach Krieger. If the name sounds familiar to you, or it doesn't, or it does, either way, he was one of the Whitest Kids You Know, which was a comedy troupe. And recently, my friend Rob had reminded me of their sketch, The Grapist. I'm going to grape you kids in the mouth. It is the worst idea ever for a children's commercial. And it also shows what it's like to be the one guy in a meeting who is like, no. And everybody else is like, I really like this idea. So it's fantastic. But I found out Trevor Moore, who plays the guy who's pitching The Grapist in that, and probably was the guy behind that. He was the leader of the Whitest Kids You Know. He died 2 years ago during COVID, not from COVID. He fell off his balcony, suffered a head injury, and died, which is quite a shame. I didn't know he died, and I was watching a bunch of Whitest Kids You Know videos, and they have a whole bunch where they were, during COVID, they would meet online like we do, and they would talk about their old sketches. And at the bottom of one was like, God, I miss Trevor. He was such a comic genius. I was like, what? So yeah, definitely check out Whitest Kids You Know. They're responsible for things like A Mountain of Chairs and Tar Toast, one of my all-time favorites. So yeah, absolutely brilliant stuff. Also, the entire sketch made up of strip club names, including gay strip clubs like Norman Cockwell's Family Dinner. All right, so up next, I'm going to recommend the book I was reading on tour. It's got a little fez on it. What the hell's going on? This is called The Black Maybe, Liminal Tales by Attila. Yes, his name is Attila Verez. So you can see it there at the bottom. This is a collection of short stories. They're weird tales. I want to thank the guys over at We Have a Technical for turning me on to this. God, I love this. This is just really dark and disturbing. If you want to go on tour and you don't really want to sleep much, it's really, really good. And also he's very, he does a lot of, when I talk to people who have conspiracy theories, I ask them to if then it. In other words, like, if this is true, then what? And then that often busts down the conspiracy theory. But he if ends everything in this. Like, if there's a town where the dead come back to life, then what happens when people leave that town? The people in that town know other towns aren't like. It's very, very clever writing, and I really look forward to everything he does in the future. This is going to be really good. And I say everything in the future because everybody's younger than I am. He was probably born in like 2016 or something. And then finally, the last thing I want to recommend is the movie Cobweb, which I did not think was going to be good. I saw the trailer and I thought, well, I'll get around to it. And then I saw the Red Letter Media talking about it, and I'm like, they both said this is really a good film. I really liked it. If you've ever seen the TV show The Boys, Homelander from The Boys has a big part in it, and also this kid that kind of reminds us that Elijah Wood should have copyrighted the way he looked as a child, because there's a lot of kids. But this was also, I said that I go to Sofia, Bulgaria to look for potatoes, to grow, pick potatoes. And this was actually filmed in Sofia, Bulgaria. If you want to have a good time, go look up where it was filmed at, and then go on Google Maps and drop the little guy there. The place has all these sets. It's got like a Roman set, a post-apocalyptic set. This is all just outside in Bulgaria. So I guess they built this set for the house and everything. It all looks great in Bulgaria. But Cobweb has all the tropes that you would go, oh, I don't want to watch this. And then you watch it and you're like, holy hell, this is good. So that was a nice surprise. I like coming home with my wife and saying, okay, here's some stuff we're going to watch and we're going to spend. So we spent Monday night together watching the last two, the conclusion of What We Do in the Shadows, and also Cobweb. So it was a very good night.
I would like to second Dan's recommendation for HenriettaHaus in Hamtramck, and especially their Hamtramck style pizza. I had the margarita. It was delicious. And of course, Dutch shuffleboard. If they don't have the Dutch shuffleboard out, ask for it. I guess it's such a fun game.
I wonder if we can find Dutch shuffleboard in Philadelphia somewhere.
We could probably make one. It looks, I mean,
Not
it's all
that
just wood, and it's like,
That was a homemade too.
I'll
I
build
think he
one.
said, like car wax every once in a while. You lay that down on the flat part.
We should do double Dutch shuffleboard. Double Dutch shuffleboard.
Dutch oven.
Dutch oven shuffleboard. Oh my God. Oh, you're sick individual.
Throw
Oh,
people
Hey, that'd be good. They have like a blanket that you pull up. We're going to hell. Why do you people watch this show? Why do you-